Welcome back, my financial friends, to the second video in our emergency fund series. This one will be all about how to start saving for your emergency fund, or if you have one already, how to boost it up a bit. By the end of this video, you'll have 5 actionable steps you can take immediately to either start or grow your emergency fund savings. To learn everything you need to know about saving, investing, and retirement, hit the subscribe button. I'll be bringing you the latest and greatest money moves from New York City every single Sunday evening. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Jennifer, and I run Diamond Nest Egg. Diamond Nest Egg is a financial education and coaching company. We teach students, young professionals, and couples how to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, how to pay off their debt, and how to live a debt-free, financially free life. And just in case you don't know what an emergency fund is, why it's important, or exactly how much savings you should have in there, check out this first video from our emergency fund series. It's chock full of emergency fund details. So let's jump right into it. Saving and growing your emergency fund. The first step is very obvious and boring, I'm sure, but it's to reduce your expenses. So I'm going to make it a bit more interesting by actually giving you some tips on how to cut costs. Tip number 1 is to review tomorrow's must-spends the night before. Leave this list someplace where you can see it every night, by your nightstand or where you brush your teeth. Some of our clients take things one step further and carry it around with them, which has turned out to be super helpful. Before you make any purchase, think back to this daily buy list, or even better, pull it out of your wallet. If it's not on the daily buy list, then you simply don't buy it. Tip number 2 for reducing your expenses is to designate some no-spend days per week. No-spend days are exactly that. You don't spend anything. You go to work, you bring coffee and lunch from home, you go home, you eat dinner, and you read a book or surf the internet without buying anything. So start with 1 no-spend day a week and slowly build it up to 2 or maybe even 3. Tip number 3 for lowering your costs is the 48-hour rule. This is a favorite of ours. Simply wait 48 hours before making any unplanned purchase. As I always say, the ability to say no is super powerful, but many of us often have issues saying no to the people or things we love because of our emotions. Money is emotional. So instead of saying no, just tell yourself, I'm gonna wait 48 hours. And the next time you're in that store or online and you feel like you absolutely have to have whatever it is, just think of me saying to you like I'm saying it now. Just wait 48 hours. You don't need this right now at this very moment. And when you leave that store or that website, I'm pretty certain you won't go back to buy whatever it was that you thought you needed at that moment in time. Why won't you go back? Because once you have time to think rationally, without any emotions, without the marketing elves and the buy one, get one free offers shouting in your ear, you'll be able to make significantly better decisions. And for any items over $100 that you have not saved for, use our 30-day rule, which says wait 30 days, not just 48 hours. It's very rare that any purchase that expensive that you have not planned for in your budget is something that is a necessity, a must-have at that moment in time. Tip number 4 for cutting your costs works especially well with larger purchases. Just ask yourself before you buy something that you hadn't planned on, how many hours or days will I need to work to pay for this? I can guarantee you that once you've worked this out, that oh my goodness moment of I have to work 2 days or perhaps an entire week to pay for this shiny new object will make that shiny new object much less shiny and much less attractive. Do this calculation and you won't be making as many, if any, big impulsive buys at all. And the final tips for reducing your expenses are these: the classical go through all the subscriptions and cancel all the ones you don't need. But I can guarantee you they really do add up. And finally, slash your food costs. Groceries, going out to eat, and food delivery are the biggest budget breakers for the vast majority of folks. So plan your meals ahead of time, go generic where you can, and buy in bulk. And of course, eat out less, which right now should be relatively easy to do. Do you have any expense cutting tips and tricks that you would like to share with us? I always love hearing new ones. Drop a comment below and let us know. Moving right on along. Now that we've tackled the expense side, the second step for growing your emergency fund is to tackle the income side. Here are some options and websites to help you do this. As you can see, it includes ideas such as setting up a side hustle with skills that you already have and picking up extra hours at work, to selling gently used items that you have at home. I don't think most of us have a lack of stuff at home. So start decluttering and see what you can get for those things that you no longer need or want. I'm not going to go through this in detail because it could be a whole video on its own. But if this is something you'd like a separate video on, drop us a comment below and we'll work on something over the next few weeks. Let's move on to the third step in giving your emergency fund a boost, and that is postponing payments on all non-interest bearing debt, where the interest is not growing right now, like your federal student loans, for example. If you have a federal student loan and a very small or no emergency fund, don't make any more payments on your student loans until interest starts to accrue again. At the time of this taping, the moratorium on federal student loans is scheduled to end on December 31st, 2020. This means interest on your student loan debt will only start accruing again on January 1st, 2021. So if you're trying to put more money towards your emergency fund, do not make any payments on your federal student loan debt until interest starts accruing again on January 1st, 2021. Now more than ever before, it's important to keep track of all your outstanding debts and to see when interest will start accruing again and when payments kick in on each of them. You don't want to miss something and end up having to pay unnecessary interest and fees. To do this, download our free financial guide. The link is right below this video, and grab our Debt Destroyer template. This will help you track all your outstanding debts and when interest and payments restart. So step number 4 in starting and growing your emergency fund is to call your creditors and see if you can negotiate a lower interest rate or a lower monthly payment, especially if you're a good customer who's been paying your bills on time. For those of you that bank with Capital One, you should know that they are one of the most customer-friendly banks. I bank there, and many of our clients also have their checking and savings accounts at Capital One. If you have a credit card with Capital One and you've been making all your payments on time, definitely call and ask for an interest rate reduction. I don't know your personal financial situation, but I can tell you that in our experience, every single time one of our clients has called with a good credit score and on-time payment record, Capital One has lowered their interest rate. In fact, most lenders have been very flexible during the pandemic, and they continue to be flexible. It's in their best interest to give you a break if they see that you are a solid customer. This is just good business practice for them. They want you to pay them back at the end of the day. They don't want you to default. So give them a call and see what they can do for you. As I always tell my clients, Your lenders don't have to give you a break. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So what's the harm it can do? Just go ahead and ask and see what happens. I normally don't recommend cutting back on retirement contributions, but if you've tried everything else and you are throwing lots of money at retirement but don't have an emergency fund or it's just not big enough right now, during these unpredictable times is the moment to beef up that emergency fund. Remember, this is just a temporary reduction in your retirement savings so that you can build up your emergency buffer in case something unexpected or unplanned happens during these uncertain times. We don't want those emergency expenses to drain your pockets or for you to go into debt. So as soon as your emergency fund is at a level that you're comfortable with, you can and should ramp up your retirement contributions again. And as a gentle reminder, we recommend a minimum of 6 months emergency savings in a recession. So to recap, the 5 actionable steps I've given you to kickstart or boost up your emergency savings are: 1, reducing your expenses. Use those tips that we gave you, they work. 2, increasing your income. 3, postponing payments on all non-interest bearing debt like your federal student loans. 4, calling your lenders to see if you can negotiate a lower interest rate or monthly payment. 5, which again only applies if you are contributing more than 5% of your gross income to retirement. The last bonus step is to temporarily, keyword being temporarily, reduce your retirement savings contribution to either the company match if there is one, or if there isn't, a few percentage points at a time until you are at a comfortable savings level for your emergency fund. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified immediately every week when we post our next money saving, wealth building video. In the meantime, check out some of our other videos on exactly how much you should be saving in your emergency fund when there's a recession, as well as this great one on the bad money habits that are keeping you broke. Thanks for watching, and see you next Sunday when we wrap up our emergency fund series with where you should be putting your emergency fund savings.